Imagine having access to a, well, a highly capable digital assistant that's just available 24 hours a day.
Oh, yeah. Never sleeps.
Exactly. It never
If
sleeps. It can help you learn complex subjects in minutes, research market trends, draft your emails, analyze all your messy spreadsheets.
the dreaded spreadsheets.
Right. It can organize your schedule and just totally automate the tasks you dread doing. So think about it. What would you actually do with that kind of capability?
It's a huge question. I mean, it forces a completely different way of thinking about your entire day because, for the first time, this level of capability isn't locked away behind some massive corporate budget.
Right.
It is sitting right there on the devices we already own,
Yeah.
in our pockets.
And I think that introduces the central question for you listening to this deep dive today. As this technology scales, and it is scaling incredibly fast, are you simply going to sit back and consume what AI creates? Or will you actually learn how to use it to become fundamentally more capable?
That's the real divide we're seeing.
Yeah. So today, we are looking at some truly fascinating insights on modern technology. We're heavily anchoring this in concepts from Ashmufer's Victory Framework, along with some really sharp strategies on AI leverage.
It's such good material.
It really is. And our mission for this deep dive is to shift your perspective. I mean, there's a lot of anxiety around tech right now, but you really don't need to fear it. You just need a practical roadmap to use it intelligently.
Absolutely. And just to set the tone right out of the gate here, we want to bypass all the heavy computer science jargon completely.
Oh, please.
Right. I mean, you don't need to know how a neural network is coded to benefit from it, just like you don't need to be a certified mechanic to drive your car to the grocery store.
Thank goodness for that.
Exactly. So this is a conversation about practical application. How do you, right where you are in your career or your business today, use these specific tools to build a better life and do more meaningful work?
Yeah, but before we get into the mechanics of, how to prompt an AI or automate a workflow, we really have to address the friction.
The overwhelm.
Yeah, the overwhelm. Because right now, the sheer volume of new apps launching every single week is just exhausting.
It's relentless.
It is. So if you're listening right now and you're feeling overwhelmed by the noise, or maybe you have this lingering anxiety that your specific skills might get automated away, we just want to say that is a completely rational response. It's totally normal to feel that way, given how fast things are moving.
It is the completely natural response to a sudden paradigm shift. I mean, what tends to happen during these massive technological leaps is that people just freeze.
Yeah, deer in the headlights.
Right. They download like a dozen different AI applications, they poke around for 5 minutes, get totally overwhelmed by the interface, and then they never open them again.
Or they go down the YouTube rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. They watch endless, highly edited tutorial videos that promise, overnight success, but they never actually apply a single lesson to their actual job. Or worse, they just bury their heads in the sand entirely. But the friction you're feeling, it isn't actually caused by the technology itself. It's caused by a lack of strategy for turning that technology into actual leverage.
And there's this vivid comparison in the source material that illustrates this so perfectly. It talks about these two different entrepreneurs, so imagine them. Both have the exact same 24 hours in a day. Both are really hungry to grow their businesses.
Okay.
So entrepreneur one is just taking pride in the grind. They are doing everything manually. I mean, they spend 3 hours a day writing the exact same type of onboarding emails, manually scraping through Google for market research, trying to organize scattered notes into some kind of cohesive plan.
They are essentially trying to outwork the clock, which, by the way, is a game you will always lose eventually.
Always. And then you have entrepreneur two. They approach the exact same business, but with a totally different baseline question. Instead of asking, how do I work faster? They ask, which specific parts of my daily workflow can technology handle for me?
Yes. They start engineering their business rather than just, sweating inside it.
Exactly. So they use AI to summarize a 40-page industry report in seconds. They build automated templates for those repetitive client questions. They even use an AI model as an interactive brainstorming partner to, poke holes in their business plan.
But the key here, and this is so important, they are still the ones driving the vision.
Right.
Entrepreneur 2 doesn't just push a button and then go take a 3-hour nap. They are reviewing the critical output. The distinction here is leverage.
Yeah, it's the difference between trying to lift a 2-ton boulder with your bare hands versus taking a few hours to build a pulley system. I mean, the pulley doesn't do the work for you. You still have to pull the rope, but it multiplies the force you apply. Or, it's like someone trying to dig a foundation for a house with a spoon.
A spoon?
Yeah, a spoon. While a massive backhoe sits idling right next to them just because they're afraid to learn the controls. The lesson isn't that the backhoe is magic, right? It's that it multiplies your existing effort.
That is a great analogy. Artificial intelligence, at its core, is just the backhoe. It's the pulley system for knowledge work.
Yeah.
It's a tool designed to perform tasks we usually associate with human intelligence. So, recognizing patterns in vast amounts of data, summarizing dense information, generating text, writing code, it is a multiplier.
Okay, I hear that. But practically speaking, I have a genuine reservation here.
Let's hear it.
Well, if I am letting an AI draft my business proposals and outline my marketing strategy and synthesize all my research, I mean, aren't I essentially just outsourcing my own brain?
That's a huge fear for a lot of people.
Right. If I'm not sweating over the blank page and struggling through the logic myself, how do I trust a plan I didn't actually bleed for? How do we make sure we don't just become, passengers in our own careers?
That is probably the single most important distinction to make in this entire landscape. AI can generate information, but it cannot generate context.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
Sure. A language model can give you 5 highly detailed, perfectly formatted business strategies in about 10 seconds. But it does not know your specific risk tolerance. It doesn't know that you, say, have a newborn at home and literally cannot work 80 hours a week.
All right.
It doesn't understand your personal values, your empathy, or your lived gritty experience in your specific industry.
So it provides the possibilities, but I still have to make the actual decisions.
Precisely. Information is fundamentally different from wisdom. A generated list of options is not a decision. You have to apply human judgment to the output. You remain fully 100% responsible for the final outcome.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because the moment you treat AI output as an automatic, unquestionable truth, you lose your human edge.
That reframes things significantly. But if the human edge is our context and our judgment, how do we systematically apply that? Because just knowing I need to be the quote-unquote boss of the AI doesn't actually tell me what to type into the prompt box.
No, it doesn't.
And the sources provide a strategic playbook for this. It's built around these 10 principles of AI leverage. And it starts with a massive mindset shift, which is principle 1 and 2. Technology is leverage, but you have to start with the problem, not the tool.
We see the inverse of this constantly. Somebody sees a flashy new video generation AI on Twitter and says, wow, what can I do with this?
Yeah.
They are literally holding a solution and wandering around looking for a problem to apply it to. The correct sequence is entirely different. You must define the problem first, then define your desired outcome, then map out the process required to get there. Only then do you select the appropriate tool, apply it, and measure the results.
It is exactly like walking into a hardware store, buying a massive power saw because it looks impressive, driving it home to your empty living room, and then saying, okay, what should I build? You have to know what you're building first.
Yes, you need the blueprint. You don't wake up and say, I'm going to use AI today. You say, my weekly content plan takes me 4 hours, and I want to reduce it to 1 hour. Boom. Now you have a specific, measurable problem to solve.
Right. And once you've defined that problem, you enter the execution phase. And the single biggest variable in your success here, which gets to principle 4, is how you communicate with the tool. Learning to give better instructions.
Yes, prompting. The quality of the output you receive is directly tied to the quality of the context you provide. If you put garbage in, you get highly articulate, grammatically correct garbage out.
And the framework the sources lay out for giving instructions is just fascinating. It breaks down into assigning a role, providing context, defining the task, setting constraints, and specifying the output format.
Let's look at why that specific structure works so well. Language models are fundamentally prediction engines. They are just trying to predict the most likely next word based on vast, vast amounts of internet data.
Okay.
So if you just write an article about leadership, you are giving it an infinitely wide target. It will default to the most average, generic, cliché response possible because that represents the exact middle of its training data.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So you have to narrow the target. Instead of a generic prompt, you assign a role. You say, act as a veteran executive coach who specializes in turning around failing startups.
Exactly.
Then you give it context. My audience is composed of first-time managers who are really struggling with delegating tasks. You define the task, write a short punchy internal memo.
And then you apply the constraints. And this is where most people fail completely. You have to tell the AI what not to do.
Right, because without constraints, the AI just wants to please you by generating endless rambling text. Constraints are like the banks of a river. Without the banks, the water just floods the plains and creates a shallow swamp. The constraints force the current to run deep and fast in a specific direction.
I love that visual.
So you tell it, do not use corporate jargon. Do not use words like synergy or paradigm. Keep it under 300 words.
And when you combine that tight riverbank of constraints with a specific output format like, say, asking for the result in a bulleted list or a table, the result is night and day. You literally transform the AI from a generic answer dispenser into a highly tuned asset.
But doing this once is just a neat trick. And Principle 5 emphasizes that the real multiplier effect happens when you stop building random AI habits and start building repeatable systems.
A habit is, just remembering to use an AI chatbot when you're stuck on an email. A system is a documented workflow. It means mapping out the entire assembly line of your work.
Right.
You take an idea, you run it through a specific research prompt you saved, you have the AI generate an outline based on your constraints, you apply human review and heavily edit the concepts, you draft the final piece, and you publish. It becomes a reliable machine.
And Principle 8 is a crucial part of that machine, ensuring it actually creates value, not just content. We've all seen the alternative.
Or the spam.
Yes. People using AI to churn out hundreds of generic blog posts or completely meaningless social media updates just to flood the zone. If you remove your personal stories, your unique voice, and your specific worldview, you aren't creating value. You're just contributing to the noise. Technology should multiply your human value, not replace it with synthetic filler.
Which ties beautifully into Principle 9, becoming an AI-assisted learner. Most people treat AI like a search engine. They ask it for a fact, they get the fact, and they move on. It's passive consumption.
Yeah.
But you can instruct the AI to act as a Socratic tutor.
Oh, wow. So instead of just asking it for, like, the capital of France, you prompt it to explain the geopolitical history of Paris, but at a 10th grade reading level.
Yes.
And then you add, quiz me on this at the end to test my understanding and point out where my logic is flawed.
Exactly. You are actively engaging with the material. You're forcing your own brain to work harder, using the technology to reveal your blind spots. That is how you compress the time it takes to acquire a totally new skill.
But, and this is but building these automated systems and leaning on AI as a tutor introduces a massive new risk. Which brings us to Principles 3, 6, and 7. What happens when the machine gets it wrong? We have to talk about the guardrails here. Human thinking, verification, and privacy.
Yes. We have to talk about hallucinations. AI models can and do hallucinate. They will occasionally invent facts, misinterpret data, or completely fail to understand the nuance of your prompt.
It's wild when it happens.
It is, and the most dangerous part is that they will present this incorrect information with absolute, unwavering confidence. They do not sound unsure when they are wrong.
Right, they sound like an arrogant expert who's totally making it up.
Yeah.
So you can never confuse an AI's confidence with correctness. You have to verify before you trust. Check the facts, check the citations, double-check the math.
Yeah.
I mean, if you submit a report to your boss or a strategy to a client with fabricated data saying, well, the AI told me so, is not going to fly. The human is the final backstop.
And that responsibility extends heavily to privacy as well. When you type information into many public AI models, that data is processed on external servers. You cannot hand over the keys to the kingdom.
Oh, absolutely not.
You should never input confidential client data, financial details, passwords, or proprietary trade secrets into an open AI system. You have to sanitize the data first, protect privacy at all costs.
And all of this serves Principle 10. Use technology for freedom and impact. The ultimate goal isn't just to collect a bunch of shiny AI tools. It's to create more time, do better work, and make a meaningful contribution.
Exactly.
Okay, so the roadmap is incredibly clear. We know we need to start with a problem, use precise prompts with constraints, build systems, verify the output, and protect our data.
Right.
But knowing the mechanics and actually doing it are two very different things. If I am listening to this and I want to fundamentally change how I work tomorrow morning, what is my very first move? The sources actually suggest a 7-day AI capability challenge, and I want to unpack how we actually survive it without giving up.
It's a great challenge. And it starts not with technology, but with self-awareness. Day 1 is the audit. You have to write down 10 tasks you perform regularly. You are looking for the repetitive, time-consuming friction points in your week.
Which, let's be honest, is incredibly hard to do. Because most of us lie to ourselves about where our time actually goes.
Oh, 100%.
We think we spend our day strategizing. But if we actually audit our time, we realize we spent 4 hours formatting an Excel document and digging through old email threads.
Which is exactly why day 2 is about forced focus. You look at that audit and you identify. You don't try to automate your entire life. You choose just 3 tasks where a tool might actually save you time.
Okay. Then on day 3, you learn. And the constraint here is vital. You choose one tool that is directly relevant to a real problem. You don't download 15 apps. You ignore the hype cycle entirely and focus on the one piece of software that solves your specific bottleneck.
Day 4 is the experiment. You apply that one tool to one real problem. You don't sit around testing clever prompts for fun. You use it on a task that is actively holding up your day.
Got it. Day 5 is improve. This is where you put your critic's hat on, you review the results, what was inaccurate, what context did you forget to provide, what part of the output requires your human judgment to fix.
Then day 6 is systemize. Now that you've solved the problem once, you document the exact steps you took. You write down the prompt that worked. You create a repeatable process so that next week, this exact task takes you 5 minutes instead of an hour.
And finally, day 7 is reflect. You look at the hard metrics. How much time did you actually save? Did the quality of the work improve? And most importantly, where else in your business can you responsibly apply this new system?
It is a brilliant contained framework, but, and here is the reality we have to confront, even with a perfect 7-day roadmap, many people will listen to this deep dive, nod their heads, agree with every word, and change absolutely nothing about their workflow.
Right. If the steps are logical and the tools are practically free, why does almost everyone fail to bridge that gap between knowing what to do and actually implementing it?
Because growth is rarely an information problem. We have all the information we could ever need right in our pockets. Failure to adapt is an implementation problem, and implementation is dictated by your environment.
Environment?
Yes. You can try to run a 7-day challenge completely on your own, but if you don't have the right structure, the gravitational pull of your old habits will drag you right back to where you started.
And this brings us directly to Ash Mufareh's Victory Framework from the Master Knowledge Base, because it addresses the psychology of why we stay stuck. The framework is built on 3 pillars: rise, reset, and refocus.
The first step, rise, is entirely psychological. It is the conscious decision to stop settling for the friction in your life. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they tolerate inefficiency.
Wow. They tolerate inefficiency.
Right. To rise means taking absolute responsibility for your own capability and choosing action over excuses.
You can't optimize a workflow until you actually decide you deserve to operate at a higher level. But the second step, the reset, seems to be where the real heavy lifting happens.
Oh, absolutely. The reset is acknowledging a brutal truth. You cannot build a better, highly leveraged future while carrying the exact same habits and limiting beliefs that created your current problems.
Yeah.
A reset requires tearing down the old routines. You have to unlearn the idea that just working harder is always the answer. You have to shed the identity of being someone who is, quote unquote, bad with technology.
And breaking those old routines is painful. I mean, trying to build these new, highly efficient AI systems without a supportive community is like trying to go on a strict diet while living in a bakery.
You're going to eat a donut.
You're going to eat the donut. Or think of it this way, trying to install a state-of-the-art jet engine onto a wooden wagon.
Yeah.
You can have the most powerful thrust in the world, but if your infrastructure, your daily habits, your focus, your environment is stuck in the past, you aren't going to break the sound barrier. The wagon will just violently shake apart. You need the chassis to handle the speed.
That is precisely why the third pillar is refocus.
Yeah.
We live in an attention economy that is literally designed to distract us. Refocusing means directing your energy only toward the things that actually move the needle. Because where your attention goes, your results follow.
So true.
If you focus on the noise, you get anxiety. If you focus on the application, you get leverage.
And you cannot build that new chassis, that new infrastructure in isolation.
Yeah.
The environment you operate in dictates your standards.
Right.
If you are surrounded by people who are constantly complaining about technology and resisting change, well, that becomes your baseline. Mentorship and community are what actually shorten the learning curve. You are guided by people who have already navigated the obstacles you are currently facing. And the accountability ensures you actually follow through on day 2 when the initial excitement wears off.
So to synthesize everything we've unpacked today, We are standing at the edge of an era where technology can dramatically increase what a single individual is capable of achieving.
Yes, we are.
But the competitive advantage is not simply having access to the tools. Everyone has access now. The true opportunity, the real advantage, is learning how to think clearly, how to identify the right problems, how to verify the answers, and how to apply the results responsibly with human judgment.
There is a quote from the sources that anchors this entire philosophy perfectly. It says, technology does not create your potential. It multiplies what you choose to do with it.
I love that. When you combine that expanded capability with purpose, discipline, and action, you stop being a victim of technological change and you start becoming an architect of your own future.
Absolutely. And if you are listening to this and you are looking for that environment, a structured community for mentorship, leadership development, and real-world application of these concepts, you can explore the Victory with Ash community. We've got a link for you. It's victorywithash.com, referred code JG87CS4TJY. That link is also in the description, so you can just click it.
And your immediate marching orders for the rest of the day are simple. Do not download another 10 AI tools today.
Please don't.
Look at your workload. Identify one real problem. Run one experiment. Measure the result. Learn one thing. Apply one thing. Build one system. That is how the leverage actually begins.
Incredible. Well, I want to leave you with one final thought to turn over in your mind today. If this technology truly is a multiplier of your current capabilities and your current state,
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself,
Yeah.
what exactly are you multiplying right now?
If you try to use AI while you are completely disorganized, overwhelmed, and lacking a clear purpose, you're just going to multiply the chaos. But if you take a moment to rise, reset your baseline, and refocus your attention on what actually matters, what kind of future could you start building tomorrow?